Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to IPW Violent Things. Tonight, we're going to take a heartfelt look at one of our own favorites, the IPW commissioner, the man, the owner, IPW's very own Hardcore Giant Ron Niemi. Today, we're going to do a little bit of something to reminisce, to show him our thanks for creating the Florida scene that has been the greatest it's ever been. Thanks to one guy, Ron Niemi, IPW. Tonight, this is all about you, Ron. You don't know it yet. This is going to be a really cool night. So enjoy. We're going to do a lot of thanks to you tonight. So this night's for you, buddy.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am now the voice of IPW Hardcore Wrestling, the Princess of Weird, Josh Johnson, and I was asked to speak about the one and only Hardcore Giant, Ron Niemi. Ron is an amazing individual. I remember when I first started coming to IPW shows as somebody just trying to get on, and Ron is somebody who likes to see talent. He sees talent where it is. And thanks to Ron, I've been here for almost every single IPW show. He's one of the greatest guys in the Florida independent scene. He's really helping a lot of guys get put on the map. And Ron, thank you so much for everything you've done, not just for me, but for everybody else down here that works for IPW and elsewhere, because we know there's going to be a lot of guys coming through the door as we get heading into February, as we get heading into March, April, Mania weekend, WrestleVision. It's going to be amazing. You're all going to want to be there. Ron, thank you once again.
IPW Hardcore fans, here we are. We're out here honoring Ron Niemi tonight and one of the IPW originals, Pat McGroin. I just thought, what, you want to say a little bit about Ron and his antics or anything about him?
I think Pat McGroin is a great way to start, because even though Ron Niemi, you booked me for 2 years with that creep Devin Nash, you did a lot for the Florida indie scene. You did a lot for a lot of wrestlers, and for that, we all appreciate what you've done. You've sacrificed a lot financially, personally, and thank you for everything you've done.
Well said. Ladies and gentlemen, IPW Hardcore fans, here with Alan Wojak. I've been following IPW Hardcore through social media for years and years. Have seen everybody come through Ron Niemi's IPW from the early, late 1990s up until present. You want to say anything about Ron and this special night?
If it wasn't for Ron Niemi, I probably wouldn't have had a lot of the access I've had over the years. Thanks to Chris Nelson and Vito DiNucci, I even know who Ron is, and the reputation of IPW Hardcore going from when you happened to work for WCW, and a lot of AJ Styles came in here, Christopher Daniels, Jeff Peterson Memorial Cup. If it wasn't for Ron, a lot of the people that you see in WWE today wouldn't be there. MVP, Roderick Strong,
Daniel Bryan,
Roderick Strong. Some guy named Phil Brooks who's sitting on a couch, or well, he may be back, but that's for like a 900 number somewhere back in the day. But thank you, Ron, for everything you've done and are going to keep doing here in 2020. And we're going to get this guy in a ring at some point, I promise you.
IPW Hardcore fans, this guy's a crazy guy. He's a quite entertaining fellow. He came out to honor Ron on the IPW show tonight. He's been following wrestling throughout many, many years. One Simon says, what do you come here to say about Ron?
Look, I came a long way to be here. Probably the longest way out of anybody here tonight. I never had the pleasure and the honor of being on the actual IPW roster, but the arms of IPW reached all the way to a little rinky-dink school called the FXE Pro Wrestling Academy, where the library of tapes we had to watch was stocked with IPW. Jaguar, Frankie Capone, heck, one of our trainers, Matt Shane, was a staple there for a while. And as I got more into the business, started tagging with Frank, I got to know Ron Niemi. Ron kind of took me under his wing as far as the managerial side of things went. He managed us on a couple shows in Georgia and then all around Florida. And then I had my chance at the first IPW reunion show a couple of years ago. Ron asked me to come out. The Shane twins and Ron were in the ring, and I had the honor of interrupting their promo with Shooter Storm and Wayne Van Dyke. And Wayne and Shooter got destroyed by the Shanes, and I got my head caved in by Ron with the Halliburton.
A lot of people had that happen.
So
that was a lot. Yeah.
As painful as that night was, as traumatizing as that night may have been, I can say without hesitation, with complete certainty, that it was a highlight. The 14 years that I was in the ring and lacing up my boots, the electricity from IPW and the electricity for what Ron Niemi created, because let's give the devil his due.
Man, it's all him.
This is the brainchild of the Hardcore Giants, and I can honestly say that I would not be the entertainer that I became if it wasn't for the influence of Ron Niemi. Ooh, my voice just cracked. Am I gonna cry?
I think you might.
Ron is a wrestling genius mind as an example. He's an entertainer as an example. And look, this is a shoot.
He's an egg-sucking dog.
He's an egg-sucking dog. He's a yellow-bellied dog. But he's a great dad too. And now that I have a son of my own, the reach of Ron Niemi's influence really spreads past the ring and the Simon Says character to John, the man that I am outside the ring. So I just wanted to say, Ronnie, on behalf of myself, you know I love you. You've pissed me off. You've frustrated me. There's not a soul in this locker room that can't say the same.
No.
But on behalf of myself and those same exact people, we thank you, Ronnie, and we love you, pal.
There was a Giants in IPW. This Giant kind of came a little bit after IPW. Jon Davis, I know you started a little later, but you had a lot of Ron that was influenced in your life and your career. You'd like to say something about it now that you're here with IPW and you're going to honor Ron on the show?
Yes, Ron is the most selfish person I've ever met. I hope you get in a car accident and break your leg, you piece of shit. I'm kidding. I just want to say thank you. There's not a lot of guys that went out of their way to take me under their wing and give me advice and give me feedback on stuff, and you were one of them. Even as I moved up the ladder, I wasn't getting it, but you always were cool with me. And then even when we were in Evolve, we got to where we would just hang out and shoot the shit and hang out and just talk, and you would make me smarter every single time. And I don't talk to many people that I feel make me better by not even doing a single bump for me, but you do that. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Without you, honestly, I wouldn't be who I am. Thank you.
IPW Hardcore fans, Jet Jaguar here with one of the originals along with myself, Sideshow, also known as, back in the day, OG Scarface. We had some brutal matches and beat the hell out of each other for many, many years. One of the toughest guys I know. He's been here from the start. I got out of the sport years ago. This guy's he's looking better than ever, stronger than ever, still with IPW. What can you say about Ron? Remember the time it was me and Ron tagged up with you and the girl on your shoulder? Anyhow.
You know, coming into IPW as a young 19-year-old OG Scarface, I was probably 160 pounds if I was lucky. I was a punk kid, kind of a screw up, got in a lot of trouble, but, after several times of bugging Ron, hey, I want to be on your show, I want to be on your show, I want to be on your show, finally he said, all right, dude, you're on the next show. And he was looking for me to hang myself and just like be terrible, and actually he put me in with you, so you got lucky, and we had a great match. The best things about IPW was not only did it teach me how to be a better wrestler, not only did it teach me about the hardcore aspect of wrestling, it taught me how to be a man in this business, I mean,
not a lot of that nowadays.
They beat the shit out of me. I mean, getting in the ring with guys like the Posse and Seal, and these guys are legitimate, Bradley, and these guys are legitimate ass kickers. And, at 160 pounds, they beat the crap out of me. Like I said, I was a screw up. I went through a couple shoulder surgeries. I had, some demons that I was dealing with at the time. And I got myself into some trouble. And when I got, better and straightened myself up, Ron welcomed me back with open arms. And we've had our share of ups and downs. We've battled this and that, but that's what brothers do. And, here we are, fast forward, many, many years, 20-some years later, here we are doing IPW again. And
raising hell all over.
Raising hell. And, at almost 41 years old, I don't know how much longer that I can do this, but I feel good. I'm going to have a great match tonight, and I got to thank, a majority of my wrestling career to Ron Niemi and all the guys at IPW. So, Ron, from the bottom of my heart, brother, I don't know how much longer I can do this, but as long as I can do this, I'll be here with you. So, Ron, thank you.
And you know what? Maybe we can go share a frosty beverage at the bar.
Or 11-teen.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of our senior IPW referees, one of the IPW Freebirds reference, Lee. You got something you'd like to say about Ron?
You know what? I met Ron a couple years ago here at ACW, some ACW shows or whatever. Me and Ron talked a little bit. Ron got me on the IPW shows. Huge fan. You know, I was super thankful that he got me on the shows. I love any opportunity to show what I can do for the crowd, and Ron was a huge supporter. Nothing but thank him. He has helped me take off in this business, so I truly appreciate everything Ron's done for me.
Another one of our IPW referees, Billy, one of the referee birds here with his nacho cheese sauce. What are your thoughts on Ron? Because I know he likes his nacho cheese sauce. He likes to dip his nachos in there.
Yeah. Well, he's a Michigan boy. You know, he loves cheese.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I'd just like to say thank you to Ron. I met him several years ago when we were both working at WWN. Great guy on the road, great guy. Shared a room with him a couple times. Always fun to have around. And you know, he started up IPW again. I did the first show with him over at Guild Dogs. Had a blast. Been working with him ever since, and he's just a great dude.
Well, thanks for saying a few words, and I'm glad to see that you got your payday in advance. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
What? It's like we've done this before.
I think we have done this before in the past. This here is Havoc. Back in the day when IPW started, he was one of our hardcore originals. He was a little bit smaller now. He's kind of big.
Yeah,
but
marriage and divorce. You know, I gained a couple pounds.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
But he's kicked ass all throughout the state. Hardcore matches, barbed wire matches, bull rope matches, you name it. He's been one of our staples here. And I wanted to come out and say, hey man, we're here to honor Ron Niemi. Say a little bit about him. Is there anything derogatory, negative? You want to just bash him with, or you want to say something sentimental from the heart? Or not even talk about the filthy animal?
No, honestly, to be honest with you, I want to say thank you to Ron for everything you've done for me and Florida wrestling in general. I remember when I broke in '98, you took a chance on me when nobody else would. Even with some personal situations I had, you really took you stuck your neck out for me, and I thank you. And I think that's why I stayed loyal to you for the whole duration of IPW. There was no promoter I ever wanted to work for other than you, and you're the best, boss. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ron, it's the Foreman. Thank you for everything you've done for me in my short career so far, my young career. You've been there for me. We've been in South Florida shows, IPW shows. Thank you for everything that you've done for me in my early career. I cannot thank you enough for the opportunities you have put in front of me and have given me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, IPW Hardcore fans, we're here with the guy that I call the champ of IPW Hardcore, the heavyweights. This has been the guy. He's carried IPW on his broad shoulders like some kind of fireman paramedic. Yeah. And he was the heart and soul of IPW for many years. He held the IPW title for many years, fought AJ Styles, fought some of the biggest, greatest stars that came through this area. I know we've had a lot of history. We've had a lot of fun times on the road. Yeah. We've had some crazy shit happen with Ron. But we're here just basically to say thanks to Ron. And is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, Ron, back in the day, I was training over at St. Petersburg. And so a lot of the guys that were over in St. Petersburg kind of were stuck there. And Ron was basically one of the first guys that believed in me, saw what I could do. And he brought me over to Tampa and kind of got me a little bit of exposure and got me with the greatest group of wrestlers that I could ever ask for, which was you guys, IPW. And
me, you, the twins, Ron at the helm, raising hell.
Seal, Cuban, Prado, Buck, Bradley. I mean, it was just great. Mikey Tenderfoot, all those guys.
Rod Steele.
And he created something that was, I've been up to the Northeast and stuff like that. It was a different atmosphere up there. They were like very serious, and not that we weren't serious, but it was a little bit more laid back, and it was enjoyable. And I really appreciate it. He believed in me, and because of that, I made sure I always gave him always 110%. And I know that sounds cliche, but I bled for this IPW and for Ronnie, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ronnie.
Mike Sullivan, one of IPW's best ever. Pleasure, champ.
No
Good
problem.
to see you, brother.
It's my pleasure. Thanks again, Ron.
What we have here is one of IPW's newest sensations. Something different, something IPW's never had before. It's the Butterfly, Faboo Andre. And he's here, and Ron Niemi's seen something in him. He's brought him into IPW. He's a different character. He's a strange guy, but man, can he get it done in the ring. What are your thoughts on Ron Niemi and what he's done for you so far in your career?
I think Ron Niemi is the sexiest man that I've ever met next to myself.
Whoa.
No offense, Brian.
No offense, thank you.
But honestly, he has helped me a lot. He's given me a lot of encouragement and a lot of great words and a lot of things that I'm thankful for, like being at IPW. I don't know how else to thank him, but I'm glad I get to do this video for him. Thank you, Brian, for having me.
Thank you, brother. Good to see you. Whoa! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Another IPW original here. Milo Beasley, Naphtali, Albino. You kind of had a lot of gimmicks and stuff with us, but he's been with us, and he was one of the top cruiserweights right from the beginning, with myself and Jeff Peterson, Jeremy Lopez, Tony Mamalu, Jamie Noble. But this guy has been around since. He was just a small guy then. He's been able to build himself up. He made a name for himself on the indie scene, and he's still with IPW. We have a huge history together. Matches beating the hell out of each other in bars and everywhere.
all over the state of Florida.
But what can you say about Ron and the special night about it? For him?
It was 1998. So I've wrestled. I will have wrestled for IPW in the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s. This will be my 4th decade with Ron Niemi. And if he didn't take a chance on the skinniest of the skinny little kids from the IPW message boards, if he didn't take a chance on that kid, I've traveled the world several times over. I've
been to Japan.
I've beaten names who I only watched on television, and none of that would be possible without Ron taking a chance on that 18-year-old kid.
You were a big part of the Jeff Peterson Cup and getting that together for our fallen friend years ago. Had the greatest cruiserweights that's in the business today, WWE, Ring of Honor. All these guys came through here.
A who's who of wrestling superstars. The very first time that CM Punk, Colt Cabana, all these guys, the very first time they wrestled in Florida was for Ron at the Jeff Peterson Memorial Cup. So it's just amazing that Ron was able to see that talent
way back
then and bring them to Florida, man.
And to see what they've become and went on to, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's quite ridiculous when you're like, oh yeah, well that guy came through the WrestlePlex. And see, I just saw a picture of AJ Styles with the IPW.
Yeah, that's a cool shot.
Yeah, cool shot walking through the WrestlePlex. Yeah. Who would have thought?
Yeah, years ago. Yeah. But thank you for sharing a few words. It was a pleasure, and hopefully Ron likes this little thing we put together for him.
Thank you, Ron.
Nice. IPW Hardcore fans, we have another person that's come out and wanted to say a few well wishes to Ron. Heath has been working with in the last 4 years, producing shows, setting up, one of the hardest workers behind the scenes that probably doesn't get the recognition they deserve, but he's been one of the guys that does so much with Ron. He's worked with him a lot. I just wanted to see what your thoughts were and Ron, and I wanted to say, hey man, you want to say anything about Ron and the opportunities he presented to him?
Well, that dirty old man, he's probably looking at my tits right now. Yeah, I know he is. Ron, look up here, Ron, up here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've been working with Ron for about a good 5 years now, and I tell you, he's one hell of a son of a bitch.
He's something else.
He is. He's a dirty old man, but he's a great dirty old man.
He's all right.
So I gotta say, he's all right. So Ron, again, thumbs up to you, buddy. Congratulations. Glad you're still sticking with everything and punching and doing whatever you can to make the boys, give them work and keep everybody busy. Thank you, brother. Thank you a lot.
Thanks for taking a few minutes, brother.
No problem.
Nice.
It doesn't matter where I go, doesn't matter who I talk to. Francisco Ciatso, Frankie Capone wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you, Ron. When I chased you for 2 years on AOL Instant Messenger, and you blew me off. So you called and invited me to IPW. It was at that point that my career took off. And you sent me to England and China, Puerto Rico, and all points in between. I've got you to thank for my career. I can't thank you enough. This night's for you.
myself to actually grow and evolve in this business and get out of my comfort zone. There are a lot of guys I owe a lot to, and you are definitely one of them. So Ron, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you've done for me.
IPW fans, we got the Hardcore, the biggest heavyweight of all time, the Marquee Bruce Santee. He's been with IPW since the very beginning. He's beat the hell out of just about everybody he's come across. As a kind of a legitimate badass, somebody you just don't want to with. But he wasn't always that way. He was a smaller guy, and Ron brought him in. And anything you want to say about that?
A few words. You told me to say a few words. I just said a few words.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
A few words could go on for 30, 45 minutes, but all I'm going to say is this. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it real. Ron Niemi gave me the opportunity when maybe I didn't deserve it, but he gave it to me, and I took it and ran. He put me with the right people. He put, made me the IPW champion. We all know this shit ain't real. It's fake. I play fight in my underwear. Gave me the IPW title when I didn't deserve it. Put me in the ring with some of the greatest people, some of the best independent wrestlers in the world. Helped me grow, helped me grow, helped me grow. Finally, as little as Simeon Steele, Agent Steele, Bruce Steele became the Marquee Bruce Santee, and it became the badass that everybody knows today. Getting a little old, not as bad, not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Thank you, Ron. I love you. I owe you the world. I owe you my whatever career I have. I owe you everything. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
No problem.
IPW fans, we're here with Moose, Steve Madison. He's been with IPW since the early 2000s. Had a lot of epic fights. Been one of our superstars. Started as a cruiserweight, blossomed into a heavyweight really quick, and has been kicking ass on the indie scene since.
The swine, Jaguar. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime. It's for Ronnie, that filthy animal.
Absolutely, man. It's a great night to have everybody together to have an impromptu IPW get together.
Yeah.
And and show Ron our appreciation for everything that he's done. He's had a little part in everybody's career around here in the Florida scene. Spanning many, many years. I pride myself on being a wrestling historian, so I knew about Ron getting into the wrestling business as an 18-year-old kid. Happened to break in, took a chance on me. I am one of the last members of 911 Incorporated. Myself, the Shane brothers, and Ron. You were already gone by then, but you're a little too swiney for everyone back then. But I'm happy to be here. It's great to see everyone, and Ron, well-deserved accomplishment tonight.
Brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody had a good time.
Thank you.
Interview for Ron Niemi. What Ron Niemi means to Rick Thames, the Southern Posse. I'll tell you what Ron Niemi means to me. It means 30 years in this business. I've known Ron since pretty much 8/10 of the time that I've been in this business. He's been our manager, our friend, our foe, everything. I appreciate Ron, everything he's ever done for the Southern Posse and the gentleman Rick Thames, myself. And no words could ever speak the amount of respect I have for you, Ron.
That's right, Ron Niemi. You've been there from day one, back at the Sportatorium, the Malenko's camps, the Monster Factory's camps. You took us around the world, Daddy. Foe and friend, we've done it all. And in IPW, we broke boundaries, we broke all the rules, and we killed ourselves for these people, and for you, and for that, Ron, you have a piece of my heart. Bone Crusher, Butch Long, Ron Southern Posse, Rick Thames.
We love you, brother.
You've been a part of our lives for 30 years.